Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Cast with Cole Patterson. I'm Jason Sukamel. Cole, or probably me, I owe everyone an apology. We didn't do a Cast last week. I was
You had a good excuse.
traveling. Yeah, I was out and about, out of state, and just things slipped through the cracks as they tend to do. And I was killing time in Vegas, probably not in the best state of mind to do a video, anyways. So, but we're back this week for another edition of the Cast. Let's get some housekeeping done, everybody. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm guessing, are we at 15,000 now? I know we were really close, like 10 away the other day. So subscribe to the channel, like the video, do those things. Ring that bell so you get the notifications when Cole and I do more Cast videos and all the other videos. And also, of course, support our sponsor, Prime Shrimp. You see it up there at the top. We got two new promos for Prime Shrimp. 30% off your order of 6 or more units. They got tons of different flavors, so get one of each, get 6 of one, however you want to do it. Use that promo code OrangeBloods30 to get your 30% off your 6 or more orders. If you only want to try like one, which, hey, you're missing out. Don't try one, try all of them. But if you want to try one, use promo code HOOK'em, HOOKEM, and you'll get free shipping on that 1 or 2 or 3 units, whatever you want to buy. But either way, you can't use both promos at the same time. Don't try that. But you can use either promo and save yourself some money. So go try some Prime Shrimp. Money back guarantee. We always say it. Hey, you will love it, and Prime Shrimp guarantees it, or you will get your money back. Cole, kind of a big weekend coming up. I mean, not the most monumental of recruiting weekends, but Texas has their orange-white game on Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Started kind of compiling the list of key visitors that are coming in. I was texting and DMing and talking to guys all day yesterday. I don't expect, Cole, based on the list that I've started to put together, it's going to be a huge number of recruits there. I think there'll probably be a lot of underclassmen guys there. But in terms of 2024s, I don't expect it's going to be a huge number. I've had a lot of guys tell me, I don't think they're going to be able to make it. But I want to go down the list of guys, the top guys who have confirmed that they will be in. And a lot of these have been on the books for a couple months, but still worth talking about. And I'm kind of going to go through this on the War Room tonight on Orange Blood. So this will be a bit of a War Room preview. But Trey Owens, Cole, the Texas quarterback commitment, he'll be in town again. Doesn't seem to miss an event in Austin. That guy, I mean, Texas only has 2 commitments, but I mean, that guy seems locked and loaded as you can get to me, man. I mean, you've talked to him probably more recently than I have even. So, I mean, thoughts on Trey Owens coming back for yet another visit?
Yeah, he told me last time we talked, he was there for the spring visit back in March, and he said that his focus is on offensive line. But he noted that he wants to be around more of the skill players this time around at the spring game. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do there, see if he can get anybody's ear and things like that. So, yeah, like you said, he seems to be pretty locked in. Big for him to obviously keep showing up to campus.
Yeah, and we'll get to the offensive linemen. There are a couple big-time offensive linemen coming in, out-of-state guys, interestingly. But, a guy that we've had on our list for this visit for a couple months now, but Jarrett Gibson, the Rivals 100 running back from IMG Academy. I was texting with his dad yesterday. They are still coming in. We're actually having an Orange Bloods happy hour Friday, kind of a meet and greet happy hour. Hey, speaking of that, if anybody wants to join us, anybody watching this, our Orange Bloods happy hour is on Friday. There you go, Pine House Brewing from 5 to 7. Thank you, Blake, ready and on the spot with that 5 to 7 Pine House Brewing on Ben White Boulevard. But I was texting with Jarrett Gibson's dad, and I was like, come on down to the happy hour, man. His dad and I've talked a bunch of super cool guy. But yeah, Jarrett Gibson, like I said, Rivals 100 member. You can make a case. There are a lot of good running backs, but he's up there with the best of the bunch in the country this year. I had my future cast pick in for Texas, Cole. I think it's been probably about a month and a half, 2 months now. I mean, you still got Georgia and local schools in the state of Florida. They're still after him. Alabama. It's not going to be easy for Texas, but he's coming in for the spring game. He'll be back for an official visit in June. I still like Texas's chances there. Another guy that we've had on the list for a while, hadn't talked about him a ton, but he's a guy that I was able to catch up with a couple months ago when he told me he was coming in. Colton Heinrich, the tight end out of Fort Lauderdale, Cardinal Gibbons High School. This is a dude. I mean, he's got a ton of offers. I mean, he's visited fairly recently. He's visited Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss. He's coming in this weekend to see Texas. So Texas will have its chance to impress. I'm looking at his offer list, dude. It's too long to even go over. He's got a ton of them. He's visited Penn State. He's been at A&M. Pittsburgh, I said Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, Arkansas. I mean, he's got tons of offers, but really athletic tight end, a guy you can flex out. He plays some receiver in high school, can play, be a kind of a mismatch in the passing game. So he'll be in town. Cole, I know I'm just kind of monopolizing this dude, but I'm sorry, but these are out-of-state guys that I talked to. Daniel Calhoun and Brandon Baker, two Rivals 100 offensive linemen. Daniel Calhoun is out of Georgia. Brandon Baker's out of Mater Dei out in California. So both elite top national guys. Both will be in town this weekend. So, hey, Trey Owens, you'll have fun working on those dudes. Listen, anytime a guy's coming in for an unofficial visit, paying his own way, that tells me there's a genuine interest, right? It feels to me like these are going to be national recruits. So, I mean, Texas is probably going to have to, A, blow them away this weekend, B, then get them back in for official visits. Owen Hollenbeck's a 2025 offensive lineman that'll be there. This is a guy I haven't talked to, Cole. Maybe you have. Xavier Ukponu from Denton Guyer, a 2025 defensive tackle. Have you talked to Xavier?
If not recently, but I know he's blowing up over really the whole spring, even the winter. He's starting to blow up in recruiting. Texas offered, A&M offered, so becoming a really big time prospect in his class.
Yeah, exactly. I know Texas has offered fairly recently, so he'll be there. And then a couple other pretty big ones potentially. Hunter Modden, the Texas commitment, was a wide receiver commitment, now more of a DB commitment, interestingly. He told me he's a maybe to come in. He's trying to finalize some plans. Hunter's a guy that's been on campus a bunch, right? But, I mean, he's also taken a visit to LSU. He said he's going to take other official visits, so anytime Texas can get him back on campus, that's big. And then here's an interesting Miles Davis, the DB out of Converse Judson. I talked to Miles last night, Cole. You and I haven't even talked about this, but he's coming up to Austin area for some 7-on-7 stuff. If they play later in the day, which his team, he said they requested late games, he's going to go ahead and hit the Texas spring game. Miles was at the Texas Relays a couple of weeks ago. Miles was at the recruiting event in late March. He has a Texas official visit set up for late June. He and I were talking last night. He's pretty open, but he kind of admitted, hey, man, Texas and Texas A&M are probably his top two. Texas is the team to beat right now. He came out and said that. He was pretty open about it. So, if Texas can get him back on campus again, he said, hey, Texas has really started to prioritize him this spring, make him feel wanted. So, if you can get him back on campus again for the spring game, that will be big.
Yeah, I talked to Miles, piggyback off of you. I talked to him at the Under Armour camp, actually, and even had some stuff last week in the War Room just on Miles. So he's a guy that it seems like they're kind of targeting that weekend, that late June weekend for all their safety prospects, and he's obviously up there on the list. He said he has a really good relationship with Blake Gideon. Kind of can play where he's a little bit of a hybrid. He can play some linebacker, play some safety. So, like I said, obviously pretty big if they can get him on campus once again this weekend. I think he just visited A&M last weekend, or if I'm not mistaken. So, like I said, big to get him on campus. Another DB that they're aggressively pursuing.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the Under Armour camp. I remember that was a month or so ago. He said Texas really picked up its recruitment of him right after that camp was over. So, and you're right. What's interesting, Miles he did visit A&M last week. You're right, and he said he really liked that visit. He told me, and sitting down with Jimbo Fisher and hearing their plan for him, they tell him, hey, we can get you on the field early. Texas is saying, hey, they've got a path for him to see the field early. He's interesting. Like, I didn't realize this about Miles Davis. Last year was his first year of playing defensive back. He's been a receiver pretty much so far. Yeah, and he said, hey, like, I guess it would have been the year before last, like they needed help in the last couple of games. They threw him out there at corner. And then last year he made the transition to safety. And so he's still new at the position. He said, man, I feel like I'm barely scratching the surface, but a guy with a lot of upside. So Texas seems to really like him. And
Bigger kind of
probably,
safety too.
what's that?
I say he's a bigger kind of safety
He
too.
is. Yeah, he's a big. You're right. You said he could play some linebacker. Like when I saw him at Texas Relays, I didn't get to talk to him because I was interviewing a couple other guys, and by the time I was finished, Miles was gone. But he is. He's a big safety. I mean, he could be kind of that DeMarvion Overshown mold who eventually spins down the linebacker. But another thing about Miles, really high character kid. First time I talked to him was last night, and just really enjoyed our conversation. Just kind of a no nonsense, very respectful, just really fun kid to talk to. So Cole, I feel like I've been just talking up a storm here. I'm going to hand off to you. I know you have a key update on a quarterback that visited Texas recently, a young quarterback, but this dude's an elite of the elite quarterback. So take the mic, Cole, and run with it, man.
Yeah, for sure. We posted a story this morning on Julian Lewis, the 2026 quarterback out of Georgia. He's like every offer you could imagine, Alabama, Georgia. He was just at USC. He's started 2 years. He hasn't even in his sophomore year of high school yet. But he's started as an 8th grader. That's kind of when he first started getting offers. And last year he started as a freshman on varsity at a big-time program in Georgia. But like I said, he has all these offers. Took a visit to USC and Alabama recently. But he was also at Texas earlier this month. Caught up with him. He got that offer. I believe that was last June when he was there for junior day. We were both there and kind of talked to him on that trip. And he said every single time he comes, he's looking forward to getting back. He told me he'll be back again in the summer. He's already planning to come back for a game as well. But yeah, the whole country wants him. But he said it kind of stands out that Steve Sarkisian and A.J. Milwee want him. They're pretty selective in their quarterback recruiting. I think they've only offered one quarterback in that 2025 class, and he happens to be like the number 2 player in the country, and Bryce Underwood. So the fact that they've already offered him in the 2026 class shows that he's a priority. He's building that relationship, and he's really high in Texas. Obviously, he's going to be a national recruitment. All the top programs are already in the mix, but he did say Texas will be up there. So, it's obviously positive that they can get him again on campus in June, and like I said, back in the season as well. Said he talked to Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers as well, but nothing really football related. But he was able to kind of, build that relationship a little bit. He said he already kind of knew them, just being a top quarterback prospect. I guess they kind of already are in the same fraternity, so to speak. So, but he was able to be around them, be around coaches, campus. Said they talked to academics. So we got the full update on the Orange Bloods, but it sounds like Texas continues to make a big impression on him.
Yeah, I was looking as you were talking. I pulled it up. The 2026 class for Rivals doesn't have any rankings yet, but I don't know. I don't know what the quarterback landscape is in 2026 yet. I mean, I know Julian Lewis, of course, but I would think it's probably a pretty safe assumption that he'll be the number 1 quarterback in that class.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mention that because, like I said, they haven't done the rankings yet. But I think the foregone conclusion is that him and Jakeem Stewart, who is also just on campus, are probably going to be the number 1 and 2 prospects, and at least the initial
position. Yeah.
Yeah, and they could. Obviously, a long way to go. We'll see how they pan out, but it wouldn't shock me if they, go from wire to wire as the top 2 prospects in the country. And Texas had both of them on campus this offseason, and so obviously pretty big. They're going to be battling for the whole country for both of them, but that Steve Sarkisian quarterback recruiting pitch obviously stands out to Julian Lewis.
Yeah, and like you said, the fact that he's already been to campus twice, and you got to figure those won't be the last 2 visits. Now he does visit a lot of places. I mean, like you said, he's at USC, he was at Alabama this spring. So, but he liked whatever he saw at Texas last June, I think it was, to come back again and probably come back another time or 2 at least. So, I think Texas, you're right. Texas will be squarely in the mix there. Cole, another guy I talked to just this week, he won't be in for the spring game, but I got a nice update from him. Ty Anthony Smith, the linebacker out of Jasper. He was up in Austin for the barbecue and the scrimmage in late March. I didn't get to talk to him after that, so I checked in with him last night. Great visit. He said, hey, it was probably the best visit to Texas he's had. And he said he felt like he was made more of a priority. That's kind of been a little bit up and down roller coaster ride with him in Texas in terms of contact and where he fits in. But the Texas the coaches really sat him down and said, "Hey, man, here's what we like about you. Here's how we think you fit in." Really made him feel like a priority. He said he's probably going to visit Texas. I think he's still ironing out the final wrinkles, but probably going to visit Texas that last weekend in June. Same weekend, Jarrett Gibson and a lot of those other big players we talked about, Miles Davis, and that's kind of their big recruiting weekend. He did say, I said, to me, I said, "Hey, man, tell me if I'm wrong, but it kind of feels like Texas A&M, and Southern Cal." And, he doesn't have an official top three, but those are pretty unofficially his top three. And Texas is a little bit behind A&M and USC just because they've recruited him a little more aggressively than Texas has over the last 3 or 4 months. So Texas has a little bit of ground to make up there, but still in a pretty good spot. So, Cole, we have a war room coming up tonight. You and I'll have a list of some of these guys. I'll have some thoughts on them in the war room. Need to hit up some underclassmen. You and I do probably today to kind of fatten up this visit list for this weekend. But I'll actually be at the spring game. I'm going to be down there kind of hovering around, just wandering around. I'll take my camera, probably take some binoculars.
If you don't have too much fun at the happy hour.
Well, yeah, that's true. I got to pace myself.
Yeah.
The happy hour, I've already tried to. I'm like, man, I live up in Leander, so I'm on northwest of Austin. Ben White is way down south, so I'm trying to finagle a way that my wife can somehow, "Hey, baby, if you drive me down to this happy hour, maybe you can go. There's a bookstore down there she loves, or I call it a junk store. She calls it an antique store. So, hey, honey, go to that antique store, and then you can taxi me home." So at the end of the night, but
I feel left out. I didn't realize the whole crew is going to be down there. I might have to make a trip.
Yeah, dude, come on in. You got time? It's like I said, Friday 5 to 7.
Crash on your couch.
Yeah, so, hey, you're more than welcome. Come on with it, man. But so I'll be out at that spring game. I will be eyeballing recruits, and we'll see if any surprises show up. So big weekend. We'll have a lot to talk about next week in terms of recruiting, in terms of spring game on this YouTube channel. So everybody pay attention and stay tuned to this channel for a lot more upcoming videos. Colt, we'll put a bow on this one. Tell everybody thank you so much once again for watching our Recruitcast. Go support our sponsor, please, up at Prime Shrimp. Go to primeshrimp.com. Use that promo code OrangeBloods30 to get 30% off your orders of 6 packs or more. Try it. You'll love it. You'll be hooked. You'll be addicted. If you love shrimp, it's delicious. It's easy. It's quick. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, we got like a cult following on Prime Shrimp on Orange Bloods already. I mean, I'm not just saying it. It is good stuff, and people love it. So go give Prime Shrimp a try. But hey, thanks to Blake, our producer. Cole, thank you, my man. Maybe I'll see you at the happy hour. Maybe I'll see you on my couch Friday night. Who knows? But everybody have a great week. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next week with another edition of the Crewcast.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it now.